Morgan.
And I'm Jake, and you're listening to
Neverland Navigation Radio,
where we talk about planes, trains, automobiles, and all the ways to get around the Walt Disney World Resort.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing today out there? What's that? You're doing great. Oh, I'm
good.
so glad to hear it. How are you, Morgan?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I hear you're getting over some sickness.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens, especially when you go to Disney every week.
Oh, yeah.
I would highly advise if you're taking a Disney trip to, do some vitamin C ahead of time.
You know what?
Hand sanitizer.
Emergency. People
Yeah.
swear by the emergency in the water bottle.
Yes.
You know?
But if you're a diabetic like me, you can't take emergency because of it depends. If you've got, I have a diabetic monitoring device and I can't take high levels of vitamin C. So I do zinc.
Yeah.
Zinc is also very good.
Really? Does
Yeah.
that wards off the sickness?
Yeah, if you are starting to get sick, that's what's in coldies and
Really?
stuff like that.
I'm
Yeah.
learning on the podcast. I love it. But you're starting to feel better now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're on the mend.
Yay.
Elderberry's good for getting sick.
Yeah, I have heard about that one.
Yeah.
Elderberry.
All right, well, this went medical.
Yeah, but that's okay. Hey, I think a lot of people worry about getting sick at Disney.
Yeah, thinking about the germ aspect of Disney is something that I'm sure is on a lot of minds.
It can be a little overwhelming.
It can be.
That's
it
not
really
what we're talking
can
about
be.
today,
That's not what
though.
we're talking about.
There's somewhere you might get sick.
For real.
It's on transportation, because sometimes, depending on the time of day or which mode of transportation you're on, sometimes those can feel like the most crowded moments of your Disney
And that's
World
when I
trip.
always worry about it, right?
Yeah.
If you are in a monorail car and you're packed in that monorail car and somebody has that really bad dry cough, don't you just get panicked?
There's something about a small enclosed environment plus the sound of somebody really hacking it up.
Yes.
That sets off the medical alarm.
Right. Oh, I get so panicked.
Yeah, but there are some transportation modes that feel more trapping than others
Yes.
in terms of that. So I think that will be one of the things that we kind of get into as we rank.
Absolutely, because for
Transportation.
me, it's a giant factor in how I would rank transportation or really anything.
It's just a part of comfort.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
comfort is a huge part of this.
Right.
In terms of now, convenience, I would say, is probably king. The most important
I would
thing
agree.
when it comes to getting around Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
And if you don't know about all the different ways to, get around Walt Disney World, then hopefully this episode can kind of fill you into the best way to get from point A to point B in some
we'll talk about all that.
circumstances.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a matter of preference, because there's a lot of ways to get from Epcot to Hollywood Studios.
Sure.
It's really just about the mode of transportation that you prefer. So we're going to get into all of them, or at least the most used ones, and we'll
Right.
kind of, we're not going to be talking about Fort Wilderness to Magic Kingdom boat, that specifically. Although
that is very similar to the friendship boats, which we are going to talk about. So I really actually think you could really
Yeah, you're kind of
clump
right.
those. I think what we shouldn't talk about is other paid ways you can get around, because that's a whole nother ballgame.
You mean charter services.
Or you could Uber.
Yeah.
We're not really going to talk about
Ride
Uber.
sharing.
Yeah.
Ride sharing is out. We're
Right.
not talking about that. Even really the minivans, we probably won't even
Right,
really
because
get into.
that's the same too. That's something you pay for. We're going to talk about the transportation in Disney World that's free.
Yeah, the Walt Disney World paid for,
Yeah.
sanctioned
Right.
transportation.
Because what's better than free?
Nothing. And in a Walt Disney World where very little is free nowadays,
Yes.
it feels like this is a gimme. So
Yeah.
you really have to maximize your use of it if you're planning on getting the most out of here.
Right.
If you're somebody who's coming for a vacation,
You've already spent so much money.
you've already spent, you're so many dollars deep.
Yeah.
You have to soak up the little that Disney gives you
Yeah.
for free. And transportation can be there's some things that Disney World I'm not going to say this too loud so Disney doesn't hear me, that I can't believe is free. There's some transportation stuff where I'm like, wow, what a great amenity.
Yes.
And I guess they don't have a choice but to offer some means of getting around. But I am glad that they have some that are very convenient for guests. So
Yes.
We're thankful for
Some of
that.
them are fun too. I mean, kind of like a ride.
Yeah, kind of like a ride. A lot of people say that their first ride at Walt Disney World, if they're going to Magic Kingdom first especially, is either the monorail.
Or the tram.
Or... oh, the parking. That's true. Parking. We're not even talking about parking.
Right.
Trams.
And that, that depends. But anyway.
Yeah.
I've just heard that before, too. People
hey,
say,
half the parks still don't have
or the
parking
boat.
trams,
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah. Or
That's
the ferry
true.
boat.
As of right now, the only 2 parks that have trams from the parking lot to the front of the parking lot / park entrance, unless you're in Magic Kingdom, which it's the ticket and transportation,
Bum, bum, bum.
are Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom.
Right.
Still waiting on tram service to come back to Hollywood Studios and Epcot.
If you can believe it.
And to me, that's so disappointing. I just can't understand. I mean, that's really a mode of transportation too, so we could talk about it for a minute, right?
I have parked. Yeah, absolutely. I have parked in the farthest corners of the Epcot parking lot. One time, my fiance and I were in Epcot, and we were parked on grass, and I was like,
oh my gosh.
What in the state fair?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? It was a really packed day.
Yeah.
And they parked us so far into the right of the parking lot into this like extra parking area. And I was like, and that was the day where there were no trams.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was still, it was post-pandemic. I mean, we're still in a pandemic, but post Disney World closure.
Right.
So the trams weren't back yet. And we just had to brave it. And it's kind of, the fact that parking lot trams aren't back yet, it's like mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing for me too, because I don't think it takes that many employees. So I don't get if there's, what I think I've heard is that they're citing the reason as being a staff shortage, like everybody is using that as an excuse, and a lot of times it's a valid excuse. I think you need the driver, you need the person in the back that tells people, they're allowed to come on or they're not or whatever, and then a couple of people where at the front, or I'm thinking like 6 people.
In the words of Judge Judy, baloney.
Baloney.
I don't buy it.
When Jake and I went to Epcot for Epcot's birthday. We were in like the last row.
Happy 40th birthday, Epcot.
Yeah.
Since we've last recorded, Epcot has turned 40.
Yes. And that one was one where we were parked, I feel like over a mile away.
Y'all, when Morgan told me where she had parked, I was like,
yeah.
What?
It was like the second or third row from the very, very back and all the way to the right.
Yeah, we got there late in the day, so the park was already full, and it was obviously a busy Epcot day because it was its actual birthday.
Right.
So people were coming for the celebrations. That's crazy. I can't believe the parking trams are back. What do you feel about the parking trams in general? I actually really appreciate them.
I do too.
If the pandemic has made me appreciate anything, it is the parking trams.
Yeah.
Because, oh boy, walking through the heat reflecting back off of the black asphalt.
Right.
Oh boy, does that make for an uncomfortable start to your... It is confirming your fear that this is going to be a hot, sweaty, lot of walking day.
Right.
The very beginning of your Disney vacation is the worst parts of Disney World.
Yeah.
Walking through the parking lot.
Right, walking through the parking lot or the ticket and transportation center for sure. And I think that the tram, it can be a really lovely experience. If you don't have to wait and you can get right on. It's breezy.
Yeah.
You get taken right up.
A little stressful, depending.
It can be. Yeah, because if there are a ton of people trying to get on.
If there are a ton of people trying to get on, if there are people who are trying to get on after they say no further boarding.
I have never been jealous
Huge pet peeve.
of the person that has to, the cast member that has to work the back of the tram, that has to deal with the people that will not listen.
It's
I think that's got to be one of the most stressful jobs in the world.
Don't you think?
I wouldn't be able to. I don't know that I would be able to do it. They are constantly like, okay, no further boarding, and people are still coming every time.
If you're listening to this podcast and you're one of those people, I hope that this changes. I hope that this opens your eyes to how the entire rest of the tram is looking at you.
Yeah.
Which is like, are you
kidding
joking?
me? Yeah.
You're the one person who's ruining this for everyone right now.
Why do you
This is
think
why we
you're
can't
better?
have nice things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think you're better than everybody else? You have to listen.
Yeah.
We're in a communal experience here.
And the next one is always just a minute away.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh, that is so true.
Yeah.
It's literally a constant rotation.
Right. If they were taking 20 minutes to bring the next one around,
This
sure,
is not
I guess.
World War Z.
Yes.
People climbing on the cruise ships to escape the zombies or whatever. It'll be right there.
Yeah.
calm down. Do you want to hear about some tram trauma I have?
Okay.
When I was a child, we were on the tram going to what was then Disney's MGM Studios. And the tram that I was on scraped up against the tram going the opposite direction and made the loudest blood-curdling metallic screeching sound.
Oh my gosh.
And it was so terrifying. People screaming, people like absolutely... Like,
that sounds so dangerous.
I was really young. I think I was like 5 or something, but I can still remember it.
Wow.
And it really, really, as a child, it really reinforced the keep your hands on the inside.
Yeah.
Like, I never... my arm is not out a car window, nothing.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
like, that experience it made it so real to me.
Yeah.
That, oh my gosh, how scary. So... even after that, I still love the tram, and I'm still thankful for the tram.
Right.
And I will never hold up the tram people, and I will never board a tram after they say no further boarding, as I respect
You have to respect the cast members that are there all day
and
in the heat, dealing
time.
with... Yeah, it's crazy that some people don't give that little bit of respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't... But, yeah.
And that, I'm sure, will be the tip of their iceberg for their Disney vacation of, wait until they realize that there's no more fast passes and they flip a little about that.
Yeah.
There's just a certain type of vacationer sometimes.
Right. But, yeah, I am shocked that there are still 2 parks with no tram because it can be such a long and hot walk.
Yeah. Overall, though, I will say that the tram is... The tram, for it being what it is, it's a pretty good experience.
Yeah.
I would say there are maybe some things about it that could be updated. There are some times where I feel like that overhead speaker is so loud.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have thought that before, but I thought that the cast member was just speaking too loudly.
Do you think that's what it is?
Yeah.
If they've got that thing right up to their mouth, the microphone right up to their mouth, it sounds... I guess it's also because the speakers are not good. They're like low quality speakers.
Sure, they're
like
old.
PA speakers.
Yeah.
Like as if you were in school.
Right, right.
And they're like, ladies and gentlemen, and it's so loud. And I'm like, oh, I've been on trams before where if you have a particularly talkative guide in the back and the speaker is really loud, that me and whoever I'm with are just like...
Yeah, but you don't want them to see you because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Right. Yes. Yeah. I think that's an individual person that is at the back of the tram
Fair
thing.
Enough.
But they are old. But this isn't supposed to be a ride. It's supposed to be like a convenient thing.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it. I wish that they were back at all 4 parks.
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather have some tram than no tram. That's for sure.
Yeah. You and I get irritated about this. Can you even imagine if you somebody that has like 5 kids or is handicapped or elderly? That's the part that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like I can handle the mile walk. Mm-hmm. I don't really want to do that. I'm about to walk a bunch of miles in Disney World. We did, I think, like 24,000 steps when we did like an all day thing the other day. Mm-hmm. And so, but anyway, but then I think
relatives, we don't really do all day.
So. Yeah.
Regularly.
As locals, we don't.
Sometimes if we have a lot that we want to like record in one day, that's a pretty, specific experience to us as locals who are, making content. But
I went with some family members and showed them around Disney last week, and it was 24,000 steps in one day.
You experienced it through the eyes of a tourist.
Yes. It's fun. Anyway.
Yeah, right. But it is a lot of walking.
Yeah.
So we are thankful for the tram.
Yeah, and I can't imagine it for somebody that has a harder time walking.
Pushing a double stroller.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a long way to push a double stroller. If you're parked in the corner of the Epcot parking lot, you're pushing a double stroller.
Yeah, and your kids are, had a long day. Like, yeah, I just... Or you've got mobility issues, I just
imagine. Hard to justify.
Mind blowing. But yeah, okay, so that's tram.
All right, trams are out of the way. We're not ranking those.
Those weren't going to be part of. Yeah.
But we are going to rank the remaining 5, right?
Yes.
All right. What's your number 5?
You go first.
Okay. My number 5 is the ferries.
So you're talking about the ferry that goes to Magic Kingdom.
I am talking about
that. Is my number 5 as well. Except for...
Really?
Yes.
That's kind of surprising to me. I don't know why.
It's hard because we'll get to this.
What's your least favorite thing about the ferry?
how slow it is.
Oh.
There's always a line, or you're waiting for it to come back. It's either you're in a long line or it's like all the way on the other side.
Can I tell you my least favorite thing about the ferry boat?
Go ahead.
Is the noise.
Oh, really?
It is so loud, and it is the noise of the boat itself that is really loud, but also the noise of like the wind whipping into the little cabin area,
That's
the standing
interesting.
area that
Yeah.
you're in. I just feel, and the noise of the water rushing, I get overloaded by that sound. It's really overwhelming for me, and I don't like it. Also, the horn of the ferry boat is extremely loud. And They have to honk it, so like
I have never even considered that. What an interesting perspective.
it's very loud. I don't.
For me, it's just that it goes so slow, which I mean, of course it does.
Feel like you're crawling, but like of course you're on a boat. You know, that's how it's supposed to be. But like it feels agonizing. I just have this specific memory of many Halloween parties ago when my fiance and I were at the Halloween party. We took the ferry boat on a whim, as opposed to the monorail, which we do every other time we're at the no man's land that is the Ticket and Transportation Center. But we took the ferry boat, and I just remember the sound and the crawling and the it was just so overwhelming. But it was at sunset, so you did get a beautiful view of
that's nice.
the park with, the clouds that you wouldn't necessarily get on the monorail. So you can get some nice views on the ferry boat.
Yeah.
If you like riding in a boat, I think it's fine. But for me, I'm never picking the ferry boat.
I never pick it either. And so the only time I wind up on it is if it's like the end of a Magic Kingdom night and the monorail line looks like it's 30 minutes and the ferry boat might be less, so then you try that. But it's also the herding, the herding onto it and then the herd off of it kind of situation where everybody's crushing together to get on and off. They're kind of
squeezing into the bottleneck.
They are.
The opening of
both times.
I know.
Yeah, and I hate
everybody
that.
Squeeze in, everybody squeeze
There's
out.
also very little seating on there.
Yeah, it's a lot of standing. Which is, I mean, not a huge deal, but it is a little less comfortable. I'm never picking the ferry boat, and I'm so grateful to have friends that are on the same page as me. Because if I had a friend that I was going to the parks with regularly that was like, I will only take the ferry boat every single time, I think it would drive me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, not to disrespect the ferry boat. We're grateful for you as a second option, but it's not my main choice.
Right.
All
okay.
right.
4?
4.
I would say the buses.
Same.
Oh, we are going to have the same list.
Probably.
The buses also, here's my issue, okay? I think that the people that drive the buses, I mean, I think they're wonderful people. I think they are told to jam-pack that thing past a safe amount. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely beyond a comfortable amount.
I think past like the last couple times we went on buses a bunch this past week when I was taking the family around, and I imagined, like, if there was some sort of wreck that happened, which is possible. I mean, the driver is a human. And
it has happened.
And there are a ton of drunk people leaving Epcot. You know what I mean? It's definitely a possibility. What would happen? Yeah. Because they want, obviously, all of the seated positions taken, but then they have it where it's, I mean, probably 20 people or more in the middle. They're basically on top. Everybody's on top of each other.
Yeah, it can get a little precarious.
As well as completely uncomfortable. But I just really also think it might be a danger. But I guess I could be wrong because I assume they wouldn't do it if it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they've assessed that the risk is, low enough that it's worth them jamming a bunch of people. I mean, I couldn't tell you, but I definitely feel like sometimes I'm like, I can't believe there are this many people even in this bus.
Yeah.
You look around and you're like, there's like 15 people standing up right now.
Yeah.
Or more.
Right. It's kind of gross. I mean,
it can be a little gross.
It can be.
At the end of the day is the worst.
And that's when the like it's shoving everybody in. Yeah.
Yeah. The bus, I don't know.
Because everybody's sweaty.
In general, for me, I think bus is a non-desirable way of transportation. I was a school bus child. I was a city bus young adult who took the bus everywhere. I've been on a lot of buses. The bus is like the last choice. You know what I mean? Nobody's on the bus unless they have to be on the bus.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, the only reason that the ferry boat is lower than the bus for me is because sometimes you will have the rare experience where the bus is really nice.
Sometimes, if you're one of the only people on there, it's super
it's kind
nice.
of lovely. You have a lot of space there. Like, if you've got some a driver who is like really getting you where you need to go and is not like whipping the bus around, then the bus can be really
it can be. I would say earlier in the day would probably be
like
when
if you're
it's
staying
best.
at a resort and you're taking a bus to the park in the middle of the day, the bus is 9 times out of 10 the bus is nice.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I appreciate the bus.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just if I'm in a situation where a park is about to close or the fireworks have just happened and we're all getting on the bus, I might as well not be on the bus. You know what I mean? I'd much rather do anything else.
Right.
So, the bus is toward the bottom of the barrel for me.
Right.
But the wheels on the bus go round and round. I appreciate the bus anyway. I
like the aesthetic of the wraps that they put on the bus. Though.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, I will give them that.
If anything, I like seeing the buses go around because you see they're introducing an Encanto one, and I'm like, I'm so for Latin and Hispanic Heritage Month, and I'm just so excited because I feel like the wraps. It's like part of driving into Disney World.
Yeah.
Like you see the purple signs with the red, bottoms, and you see they're updating them.
Yeah, it's a blue.
You see all the, all the different signage for Disney World, and then you see the fun buses going around.
Right.
You're like, here I am.
And sometimes they're just kind of jaw-droppingly impressive.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? Custom design just for the buses.
Yeah.
The Frozen one is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of them that I look at and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
All that for a bus? Thanks, Disney.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
Yeah, I wish they would actually do more wraps on the monorail.
Yeah, they did one for the 50th. And I feel like they do that
And
at
I haven't seen that one in a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's probably still around.
I think it's just on one, isn't it? Just on Monorail Gold?
Yeah, I don't know which one specifically, but it's definitely just on one.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it the past handful of times that we've gone.
Really interesting. Well, the 50th, it's winding down, so maybe
I know, but it still has 5 more months.
Oh, yeah, because the end of March, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow, you're right. It does still have a little... They're like, forget it.
It's over.
We're done with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, should we move along?
Sure.
Do you have anything else to say about the buses?
No, I don't think so. Sometimes I think it's just around Christmas, the bus driver will initiate some singing.
The way you described that, the bus driver will initiate torture tactics, including singing.
If you follow us at all, you know I'm Christmas obsessed, but this is not my thing.
But not public singing obsessed.
No, this is not my thing.
I asked Morgan a couple weeks ago if we should sing Happy Birthday to Spaceship Earth for Epcot's 40th birthday. And she goes in a text message, I'm not a singer. I will not sing, but I will loudly shout Happy Birthday to the Epcot ball if you'd like. And that is what we did. But just to set the scene about why Morgan would hate this public bus sing-along.
Yeah.
So they're singing What Christmas Carols.
Yeah.
What a torture chamber. But why are they doing that? Is this on the way out of the park?
I think it's just certain bus drivers, so I don't know. It's both. Yeah.
Imagine. It is Magic Kingdom. You have just fought for your life to get out of the park after the fireworks. You're pushing children out of the way. You're leaping over people who aren't making it.
Right.
You get to the bus, you get on board, you're like, oh, thank God, he's going to turn the lights off.
I'm going to take a little nap.
It's going to be great. Lights on, we're singing Christmas
Jingle
carols.
bells. Yeah.
Nightmare bus ride.
Yeah,
I
not
would
my
hate
thing.
that. So yeah, it's like what we were saying. It's highs and lows. When the bus is good, it's good, but when the bus is bad,
right. And I think that the individual driver makes a huge difference on your experience because
Probably, yeah.
I think that some drivers shove more people in than others too.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
And maybe that's what they're supposed to be doing, but it sucks.
They get a bonus for if they squeeze that extra family of uncomfortable tourists onto the bus.
at the Halloween party, we saw them like shove a phenomenal amount of people onto one bus, and then the next one was there like immediately, and I was like, why?
I don't understand. I mean, I get that you're trying to get people where they're trying to go,
right?
But at what cost?
At what cost?
Because we were shoulder to shoulder in that bus. We were squeezed. Yeah. That's not a great. When you're all, especially after the Halloween party, you're talking. Those people have been there for like 12 hours.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, because if they're there from park open,
I mean, that's true most days.
Yeah,
for a lot of people.
Hoo boy.
Yeah.
Hoo boy, howdy, the bus.
Yeah.
What's above the bus for you? Number 3.
Above the bus for me would be the monorail.
Oh, our paths have split.
It's a real tie for me for 2, but...
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, the monorail.
The monorail is like the bus for me in that if you get on it at a time where it's not jam-packed, it can be a fine experience.
Fine.
Yeah.
Wow, you speak so highly of it.
Unfortunately, so I have a lot of
certain hours of the day.
Yeah,
it's bearable.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is.
Wow.
I think that
people love
got
the monorail.
Yeah, very good views. It's very nostalgic for me, which is always a good thing. I like it. It makes me sad to see how downhill it's gone. And then the end of the night thing is absolutely unbearable.
That, without a question, is like by far the worst part of a Disney day.
I know. Like, we hardly go to Magic Kingdom at night anymore because of the transportation.
Isn't that wild?
It's so sad.
Everything the light touches belongs to you, Simba. What about over there? What's that shadowy place? That's Magic Kingdom after the fireworks show, and we don't go over there because...
Yeah, because the transportation is so terrible. It's so uncomfortable.
At the end of the night, after that fireworks show, people are like...
Thousands and thousands of people.
Thousands of people are like bumping ahead of each other. Some running.
Everybody's turned into jerks.
Some,
everybody
like,
smells
people
bad.
running over other people with their, scooters or whatever.
Yeah.
People, like, with their strollers as a battering ram, just absolutely going for it.
Yeah.
It can get really bad.
Yes.
As someone who has some general crowd anxiety, you do too.
I do too, very much.
How do you
not very
feel?
much.
In those moments, sometimes it feels like you're, like, in an emergency.
I mean...
It can really heighten your, fight or flight.
Yeah, yes. I think that it really... What can show you how much how much that bothers me is the fact that we don't go at night anymore.
Right, we just say no.
Yeah, because Magic Kingdom at night is like the most beautiful place ever. I love the castle and the lights.
Tomorrowland
and all the neon lights.
So pretty.
Magic Kingdom at night is one of my favorite places to be. But the end of the night transportation from Magic Kingdom is such a nightmare because nobody can walk. You said there is an option to walk, but it's ridiculous. It's like beyond ridiculous.
There's
it's
a Grand Floridian Polynesian walking path, but very few.
Did you ever look up how many miles it is?
No, but it's got to be like a 30 or more minute walk, probably more.
Which is crazy after you've walked around Disney all day.
Tori, my friend Tori, who I've gone to the parks with a bunch, sometimes we have been leaving the Magic Kingdom late at night, and we'll be in line for the monorail, and she'll be like, do you just want to walk? And I'll look at her and I'll say, I can't. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Because if you're doing Magic Kingdom all day like we were back then, because I wasn't local to Orlando, you're tired.
Yeah.
It's hot. Right. You're tired. Right. Your feet hurt at the end of the day. So, like, walking to me, that's not an option.
I know. It's crazy. There have been times where I have bypassed the tram at Magic Kingdom to my car and walked, and that was kind of a nightmare. And I did that because the lines for the tram were so insane.
That happens too.
The thing is that everybody's leaving at the same time because it's the end of the night. Mm-hmm. And I just looked up not the capacity, but the average amount of people that go to Magic Kingdom, and I wish I could remember that number off of the top of my head, but it's a crazy, phenomenal, huge number.
Throughout the course of a day, you mean?
The average amount of people that go to Magic Kingdom at on a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a huge number.
Yeah.
More than you would expect, I think.
Let me tell you, it feels huge sometimes when you're in there.
And so everybody's leaving at once, and nobody's walking. I mean, I think the amount of people that actually do that walk that you're talking about have got slim, because I didn't even know about it. Yeah. And I mean, I consider myself something of a Disney expert.
Right.
And you would have to go past Grand Floridian and past Polynesian, you said, right? That's a joke. I don't think people know about it. Mm-hmm. Not very many anyway. So everybody's either taking the monorail or a bus or the ferry. Mm-hmm. So it's just too many people at once.
I will say the bus at Magic Kingdom, leaving Magic Kingdom, that is actually one of the speedier ways to go sometimes.
It's speedier. You're just going to be crammed in a bus.
Yeah.
But you're going to be crammed in anything.
Odds are you're going to be crammed in the monorail. I would say
Same with the ferry.
I would say the most spacious would be the ferry, but not by much. Just because there's 2 levels of the ferry, so there's more places
but sometimes every night at the end of the night, they have a line that fills more than one ferry.
Yeah.
And so they shove as many people on there as they can.
It's true.
You're right, though. That's probably the most spacious, because the monorail is kind of a confined car that you're in.
And in the monorail,
because the bus is confined.
The bus, you might be sitting shoulder to shoulder with 2 people and have someone right in front of you because they're standing.
Right.
At least on the ferry, you're all standing for the most part, so you can...
And it's open. You're not enclosed.
But it's not a cakewalk either. Like, I'm not saying
nothing is.
They're all bad options, I would say, in that situation. But the bus can definitely be bad. But as far as the monorail in general goes, like you were saying, good times and bad times. Obviously, that's the worst time. I think they need to do something about the monorail situation at the end of the day. I don't know what that looks like.
They need to add another transportation option.
From Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Extend the Skyliner.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? If you want to build something brand new, if you want to have, I don't know, more boats.
Monorails.
Yeah, more monorails. I don't know what the solution is, but I know that what you need is more transportation options.
Yeah.
Because nobody's happy.
Anyone.
Yeah. And this is your last impression.
Yeah, your leaving impression sometimes. Like, even if we have started our day at a resort, we've started our day at, eating breakfast at Ohana, so we're parked at the Polynesian and we're going back or whatever.
Yeah.
Even the resort side of the monorail can be like a crazy experience. So if you don't remember or you don't know, there's 2 sides of the monorail as you're exiting the Magic Kingdom: the ticket and transportation side and the resort loop side.
Right. And if you're staying at the Polynesian or the Grand Floridian or the Contemporary, you can take the resort side.
Right.
Yeah, you're saying even that side is bad?
Even that side can be really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, not as bad. It's almost always shorter.
That would probably, staying at one of those hotels would probably be the thing that would make it the best option for you. But, oh my God, expensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
those are the pricey
those
ones.
Hotels are like $700 a night minimum.
Deluxe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not an option available to everyone. And even then, the monorail could be bad.
And then it's not great, is what you're saying. Yeah. There are definitely things I love about the monorail. I love that the monorail goes through the Contemporary Resort. How flipping cool is that?
That is amazing. The true issue with the monorail for me right now is that something that was meant to be futuristic has become nostalgic.
I have been saying for 15 years that the monorail needed to be upgraded.
There was a rumor a few years ago that we were getting an all-new fleet.
Wasn't it more than a few years ago?
It might be now, of monorails, and somebody high up at Disney had even tweeted that they had heard, within the company that was true. That never happened.
Right.
And I don't know if the pandemic has changed.
No, it would have been done before that. I think.
I mean, I'm saying if it were still on the table but just not being done yet, I don't know if the pandemic has changed things so much that that's never going to happen.
Well,
a monorail update,
I don't think it could. It can't never happen.
Well,
because they're starting to fall apart a bit. I mean, every once in a while you see a YouTube video where a door was left open for the entire somebody's entire trip.
Metal piece falls off
monorail. A metal piece falls off the monorail.
Oh,
terrifying.
My God, I can't believe they're still open after that happened.
I mean, thank God nobody got hurt in either of those situations. I still ride it though,
so I guess I'm the problem.
Well, I try not to walk under it because of the metal piece that fell off.
It's true. When we're in Epcot and the monorail, and we're walking underneath the monorail track, and I say, "Oh, look, the monorail's coming." Morgan goes, "Oh God." Yeah. But honestly, that's probably why Morgan will live longer than me, because she's like, oh, this news about something being potentially very dangerous, I'll steer clear of that.
It's
and I'm like,
still a 1 in a million chance.
Yeah,
but
right.
I can't not think about it when the monorail's about to go over my head.
Yeah.
It's the first thing that comes to mind when I see it coming about to go over my head.
That's an image problem.
Maybe, yeah.
For Disney.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if people look at your flagship transportation system and they think to themselves, duck,
yeah,
that can't be good.
Well, and okay, I know you've mentioned before, sometimes it smells like pee in there.
Sometimes the sense that I experience on the monorail, not good.
Right.
And I understand you've got thousands of families coming and going all day long, so it must be very hard to keep them clean, but guess what? That's what you got to do.
Yeah, I let go the fact that there's usually smudges all over the windows because kids put their face up against it. I can understand,
still think that's
because
gross.
It is gross, but I get that it's unavoidable because they can't clean the monorail every time
it stops.
They can't clean it every 10 times.
Right.
But you should clean it enough so that it never smells like pee.
Yeah.
Pee, that's got to be that's where the bar needs to be. I mean, that's a far.
But sometimes it just smells like mold. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just smells musty in there and moldy, and you're like, oh God, that can't be state of the art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The monorails were meant to be an ode to futurism.
Yeah.
In Disneyland, it goes through Tomorrowland. It's supposed to be this
cool.
hyper futuristic model for future transportation that was kind of in the same line of thinking as the People Mover. This is how people might actually get around in a functioning city type idea. Now, riding the monorail is look at this cool thing from the 70s. Haha, we thought the future was going to be monorail. We've got to get on that. That's the same, how they say, oh, we don't want Tomorrowland to become Todayland.
That's what I was going to say. They really can't. I mean, unless they're changing things every, 10 years?
Okay, so there is a lot of conversation about this talk of how can you be on top of the future?
Right.
How can you keep the future futuristic?
Okay.
In Magic Kingdom, they've kind of settled on retrofuturism.
That's what it is.
They've settled on this 50s, 60s, B-movie sci-fi kind of version of space that's funky, which is a choice and fine. Or
it's kind of fun, don't you think?
Yes.
Like you said, Tomorrowland at night is so fun looking.
But here's what I'm thinking. And tell me if I'm crazy.
Okay.
The money that we all give to these people.
Oh, I know.
Don't you think they can afford to keep it futuristic?
I think that about stuff all the time.
If you have to update it every 10 years, update it every 10 years.
Right.
You could afford to knock it down and start it over. You know what I mean? They really could. It's not like they're hurting.
Right,
right. Especially with the way that my annual pass has gone up, with the way that one-day ticket prices have gone up, the way that resorts have gone up.
Food, I know.
I have to pay to park here now.
Yeah.
Why does Tomorrowland look like the 50s? You know what I mean? Why are the monorails unchanged from the 70s?
Yes.
There is a level of expectation that they will keep things fresh. And I don't know necessarily that the monorails fit into that narrative. I think they're lagging behind a little bit.
But do you think if they got new cars and put them up there, it would still be good?
I think if they
so the concept of the monorail is okay.
The concept of the monorail is okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
I just think the actual experience of the monorail right now feels outdated. It feels like it was built in the 70s,
When I was a kid, one of my favorite rides was the monorail. You know what I mean? Even though it's not a ride at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that.
Yeah, because
but now it's
unique, It's something really different that you're not going to find other places. But,
Now, it just needs an upgrade.
It needs a rehab.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of the monorail systems that are made by the same manufacturer as our monorails in different parts of the world? Some of these new monorails look incredible.
Oh, no, I haven't.
They're just similar, but they look more futuristic. They've got like a wider windscreen, or they've got, different siding or whatever. There's aesthetic choices that can be made to make something appear to be futuristic in a modern sense, as opposed to what would have been futuristic in the 70s.
Right.
There's just some little tweaking that can be done that can really make a difference. And I think that it would be a really nice investment on the part of Disney to give back to the people who have to use the monorail to get to the park in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
To give them something comfortable and modern.
Right. And I think that it's something that they could, switching out the cars seems like something they could do without really taking it down for very long.
Yeah.
I also think the feel of the monorail has gotten kind of clunky feeling. Do you? Like the ride.
Yeah, you mean like the track itself.
It's not as smooth as I thought that it was.
Yeah, it's a little like... So this is, I'm showing Morgan a picture. This is Bombardier, who creates the monorails. This is one of their other models. It's just a little bit, they've just got some models that like that compared to that.
Yeah.
Like there are just some things that just feel a little bit more futuristic that I feel like we're not doing. I do agree that like even the track itself, or even like that is so cool. There's like this space age kind of looking.
How would somebody find that picture? Google
new monorail.
Oh,
that's cool. What I did. But like I do agree that even the track feels. Sometimes we're on the track and I'm like, is today the day? You know what I mean? I'm like, am I going to be the one on the monorail accident news? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a little spooky. That's why I don't park at the Ticket and Transportation Center.
Yeah.
Because I'm avoiding the monorail altogether. I mean, not really, because even if I'm at the Contemporary or I'm at the wherever, I'm still taking the darn monorail.
Well, yeah, we have to.
I'm in the sky. I'm at the will of Mickey Mouse and the monorail.
Right.
It's like that.
Yeah.
So there can be things that can be done, but overall, it's not the bottom of the list. I just wish it were modern.
Yeah, I agree. It just needs a refresh, and then it would be great. Except for the amount of people at the end of the night. That you just need more transportation from Magic Kingdom at the end of the night. But
my number 3 was Friendship Boats.
Okay.
So my number 3 is so when I say Friendship Boats, I don't.
So that's my number 2.
Okay, so we just flip flop there.
Right.
When I say the Friendship Boats, I don't mean specifically the boats that
are called Friendship.
Those are the Epcot.
It's funny, Hollywood this is my number 2, but I don't actually take it ever.
Yeah, we very rarely take the boat. Mm-hmm. But
again, because it's slow.
Now, the Friendship Boats can get you across the World Showcase.
Yes, they can get you across the World Showcase. They can get you from the Epcot to Hollywood Studios, but from the back of Epcot.
Right, and that from the International Gateway. And then they can take you... There's also boats that can take you from Disney Springs to...
Port Orleans. Yes. I think it has a different name, like you said, but yes.
Probably.
And then there's a boat
Saratoga.
Saratoga Springs, yep. And then there's a boat that will take you from Fort Wilderness and Wilderness Lodge to Magic Kingdom. And those are all approximately, if not exactly, the same size boats. Right. They're small boats. They fit like, I want to say 50 people, but it could be more than that.
Yeah, I would say that's a good estimation. Fit like around 50 people. And they're not air conditioned, right?
No, they're open.
They're just open. Because you're not on them for very long.
I don't think it's air conditioned. They're not. I guess it could be.
But they're not designed to go like a long distance, They're just kind of short trips. And these are actually not bad. I feel they're benches. They're these like fiberglass benches that you're on as opposed to like individual seats, but that can be kind of nice because at least you're sitting with your party. Yeah. And then generally you can't also fit like a family of 3. Now, sometimes if it's really full, they'll like break up families, and it's not families will break up and like sit wherever they need to. Right. But overall, I would say that these are, for me, quieter than the ferry boat.
Quiet, yeah.
And more comfortable than like a bus.
A thing that love about it is that there's not standing.
Yeah.
If they allow standing, I haven't personally seen it. So,
I don't think I've seen standing.
Yeah, it's a small boat. The issue is that you might wait a while. Whereas when we were talking about like the monorail, or when you're talking about, well, the Skyliner for sure, and even a lot of times the buses, they usually are kind of back to back or close to it. These boats, sometimes you can wait 20 minutes for the next, or 30 minutes.
Yeah, but maybe it's because I never did it as a kid. But for me, these feel a little bit more like a true amenity.
Oh.
Like a gimme. Like Disney is like, look, we can get you like from here to here, and we know you can take the Skyliner. Well, I mean, these were way before the Skyliner,
right?
But we know there are other ways to get from Epcot to Hollywood Studios. You could walk.
Oh, and that boat also goes to Boardwalk.
Right, the
which
Boardwalk.
is the one that goes from Epcot to Hollywood Studios also goes to like Boardwalk, Beach Club, Yacht Club,
Swan and Dolphin.
Yeah, Swan and Dolphin. Right. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I honestly think that those to me they feel very convenient. They're just like, look, another
nice,
option for you.
Relaxing, breezy.
Yeah. Nice. Now you got to be careful because if you're like me and some of my friends and you're trying to take the boat from Epcot to Hollywood Studios and you accidentally get off at the Swan and Dolphin, you don't know where you are and you're wandering around the Swan and Dolphin, you walk around the entire resort late at night. It can be rough.
Oh,
but if you know what you're doing, it can be rough.
You're in a bad neighborhood.
Yeah, the Swan and Dolphin, Fantasia Gardens miniature golfing, that's tough. But like, if you know what you're doing, it's a really nice like added. I'm really glad that Disney offers like this little boat service because it first of all gives you a different perspective, seeing Walt Disney World like by water, kind of fun. But also it's like it's not the hustle and bustle of the bus, you know?
Yes.
It feels a little bit more relaxing.
It is. It just takes a little bit longer. You have to work that into your schedule.
Yeah, it's like the luxury of time.
Yes.
You know, if you are like racing back.
And sometimes, this is not going to work.
The wait is long, the boat is slow.
Yes, all of that. That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
But a lot of times also I have found that the skipper of the boat has super fun information to share.
Yeah, and good personalities.
Yeah.
I feel like to be a boat captain at Walt Disney World, you also have to be kind of showmany, kind of snappy with your, personality. That's what I found. They're usually the ones that are a little bit more peppy. And
when we took the boat from Port Orleans to Disney Springs, we got a lot of like trivia type information that some of which I didn't even know. Like,
I love that.
Like that hot air balloon in Disney Springs is not actually hot air, it's helium.
Little did we know.
And so he was like, everybody calls it a hot air balloon. Like, I'm still calling it a hot air balloon because if I say helium balloon, you're imagining something different.
I'm always going to call it
a hot air balloon. But it's a helium balloon. And he was talking about the lights that they have to put at the top of it.
Oh, yeah.
And the cast members have to, like, climb up the side of it to check those lights once a month.
No, thank you.
I know, right?
I'm
Terrifying.
good. I'm never going to do that.
But they have to have them up there for planes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they actually have to climb up the side of the, like, there's netting. And crazy.
They have to climb up the side of that not hot air balloon?
Yes. Once a month. Yeah, crazy.
No.
So anyway, you can get some really fun information from a fun skipper by taking the boat. And it feels a little bit more personal because, like, there's...
Smaller crowd.
Yeah, it's not like they're... If the skipper on the ferry boat were giving fun information, there's no way you'd even hear it. Because there's like 2,000 people on that boat.
Yeah, that's true. And the rush of the water and wind.
And all of those noise problems you're talking about. Yeah, if you're talking back to that, I would say just the noise of the people in that crowded area.
Cavernous. It's like a really busy hallway of a school.
Yes.
How it like echoes and reverberates.
Right.
And like, oh God, it's making me anxious about it. All right, so that leaves us at our number one, our shared mutual number one, which is 1, 2, 3, the
Skyliner.
The newest edition.
The newest edition. And you guys, this one took me a while to get okay with.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a height issue.
Yeah, I still get a little occasionally.
I do too. If we stop up there and we're really high, I'm like...
That can be... The swaying.
Yeah, and it's swaying. It sometimes, like, when it's like that, you're like, oh my God, I'm like on a string. You know what I mean? And it's just that my heart will start racing a little bit.
Like
okay,
pavement. Yeah.
Let's get moving again. But other than that,
yeah,
it's beautiful views.
It's gorgeous. Like, taking it from one of my favorite paths is the I guess Epcot or Hollywood Studios, but like as you're going into the Art of Animation Pop Century station.
That's one or the other, but yeah, because you get off and change at one point.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, go ahead.
As you're like descending down into that Pop Century Art of Animation station, you're gliding over water.
It's like you're on the magic carpet.
It's like you're in Soarin'.
Yeah.
You know, it is like a 360 stunning view of like this water that you're above, and like, is that Hourglass Lake?
It's Hourglass Lake.
Yep. Of Hourglass Lake and like the surrounding
That's the lake
buildings.
in between Art of Animation and Pop Century.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets kind of low there, and you're gliding over the water, and it reminds me so much of the scene of Magic Carpet.
When they're skidding.
Over the water.
Yeah.
Over the water, yeah.
It feels like that, doesn't it?
I love it. That's my favorite part, too.
It is really, like, that is beautiful.
I also love going by the part where you can see Spaceship Earth, especially if it's at night and it's all lit up.
Gorgeous.
Ooh, yeah.
I like taking it out of Epcot in general because you get a really cool view of the backside of France.
Oh, yes.
You glide right over top of that new courtyard for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure.
And the Gastos billboard. There are really things you can see there that you couldn't see if you weren't in the Skyliner.
Exactly, yeah. It's like a cool first-hand, different perspective of that end of world showcase. And that is really like, for me, I love stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Just like getting a different vantage point over like Walt Disney World. As like a super fan, I'm like, those moments for me are incredible. The Skyliner, I also just really appreciate the convenience of just hopping on and you just go.
It's fast. There's almost never a line.
And you're never going to feel like you're right on top of each other because it can only seat like 8 people tops. Is it 10 tops? It can only seat 10 tops.
And even when I've had, I have heard people complain about the
being seated with another family.
Yes, and it has happened to me, but only at like a long time ago when it was kind of still new. Recently, even if there's a line, we don't wind up getting sat with another family. But if you do, there's room for 10. It's not a crushed 10. Yeah. Nobody's standing. And there's not air conditioning, but it's breezy because you're up high. So even when it's been hot, I've never felt hot.
When they announced the Skyliners and they said there will be no AC on these, I said, no, thank you.
What in the world? I was like, you guys are out of your mind. Do you know where you're building this?
I was like, so we're talking about heights and we're talking about no air conditioning. Right. No, thank you. But then
we found out.
I rode it.
Yeah.
And the cooling system they have in there that's like taking advantage of the airflow that's coming against the cars.
Right.
It
works really well.
You don't feel hot ever.
Right.
So like, unless you're
stopped. And if you I can imagine if somebody gets stuck up there for a long period of time, I can imagine that it would completely change your point of view.
Absolutely. I don't think I would ever be able to do it again.
No,
so,
same.
Hey, here's the hoping I never get stuck up there.
Yeah. I know there was that one problem at the very beginning.
There's been that one time where they had to evacuate it, and I think that's happened twice now.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just once. Jeez.
But like that,
I can't. I don't even want to think about that.
And everything that goes along with that.
But I know that has happened on there have been bad situations on all of the modes of transportation, so.
Absolutely. But I have not encountered anything on the Skyliner that has been enough to make me not want to do it again.
We've never stopped for more than like 3 or 4 minutes.
Never. And also, we were at the Skyliner station at the Riviera recently, and we were trying to get up in the air, and there was a storm coming.
And we had to get back to our car, which was like, I think at Art of Animation.
Or something.
Yeah.
And
because
they wouldn't let us up.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
But so that's something to keep in mind. If you see a storm's coming, I wouldn't even bother.
Try, because if there's lightning in the sky at all, they shut it down.
They shut it down, yeah. Which, of course, God, can you imagine?
Yeah, it does seem like a little bit of I wouldn't say an oversight, but it feels like a little bit of a major flaw. It feels like a major flaw to have something that doesn't work in storms.
Because of Florida.
Because it's Florida?
Yes. For like 4 or 5 months out of the the year, we have a storm legitimately every day.
But also in Florida, sometimes that storm is only an hour.
Yes,
So-
most of the time.
I would say that in that situation, hey, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but it can be inconvenient. And so the other thing is if you are here, let's go here. The Skyliner goes from Epcot to Hollywood Studios, and then there are 3 resorts. Well, kind of more. Art of Animation and Pop Century is one stop. And it stops in the middle of the lake that's in between those two. And then there is Caribbean Beach and Riviera.
Right.
That's it, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And so those are all of the stops with there's a middle that you would have to change if you were going to Epcot to Hollywood Studios. So you can stop at any of those resorts, but if you are staying at one of those resorts, then there is not bus access to Epcot or Hollywood Studios. You are, unless there's a thunderstorm. That's so complicated. I just feel like, I don't know if the word is really out. You know what I mean?
It is complicated, but let me tell you, it is organized. Because when we had that happen to us,
right.
They took our line, they moved our line of people waiting to get on the Skyliner, they moved it to the bus loop right outside the Skyliner station. We got on a bus and we were on our merry way.
And that bus was just there for us. It was not like a bus that was picking up from Caribbean Beaches, I think, where we were at.
Specially dedicated bus just for us Riviera people who were stranded.
We were stuck, yeah.
Yeah.
So it didn't take a long time.
And nobody needed to know, oh, well, if I can't get on the Skyliner, how am I going to get...
No, that's not the part that I mean, though. I mean, like, when my family is coming to my family's coming to stay in November, and I was looking at different hotels for them, and one of the ones I was looking at is Pop Century, but my brother won't go on the Skyliner because of it's just not something he's interested in doing. So Pop Century wouldn't work because then he had no backup option.
Yeah,
so if you're a person that isn't going to do the Skyliner because of whatever, any reason that
is a bummer.
Yeah, then you have no way of getting to Epcot or Hollywood Studios.
Oof.
Yikes.
Not good.
I don't like that. I think they should still have a bus for people that don't want to do it.
The Skyliner should be supplementary.
Exactly.
Because what a great... Like, yes, you can take a boat to get from Epcot to Hollywood Studios, or you can take the Skyliner, and how fun to have both options.
Yes.
Or a bus.
Right.
You got the land, you got the sea, and you got the air.
Right. But from a hotel, I imagine that there are a lot of people that aren't comfortable with the Skyliner.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you imagine so?
There's a lot of people terribly afraid of heights.
Yes. I mean, and honestly, it made me uncomfortable until I did it a few times. Then I was like, at first I was like, I'm just going to do this because it's so wildly convenient. And it really is. Have you ever waited in line more than 5 minutes?
No.
Neither have I.
That being said, there can be lines for the Skyliner.
There can be. But
listen, if you're
we don't always
at
go
the
at
end of the day at either Hollywood Studios or Epcot.
Oh, we have seen that line.
You will wait.
Yes, end of the after the fireworks. You're right.
Or even more, yeah.
We saw that line and it was wild looking, but I bet it moved pretty fast because it's a continuously moving.
It's like an
thing.
Omni mover.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
great.
I bet that's nothing compared to the monorail situation that we were talking about earlier, or the ferry boat situation.
Let me tell you, it's not.
Yeah.
And thank goodness.
Yes.
Because my poor little soul, I don't think could handle another. Imagine if Disney came out with a new method of transportation and they had that same problem again. Everyone would be like, hello.
Maybe you're right. Maybe adding on to the Skyliner is a good option. We didn't even talk about Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom, the only way you can get there is a bus. That's it.
Animal Kingdom is truly out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's the theme of the park, but like geographically within Walt Disney World, why is Animal Kingdom so far away from everything?
It's so far, I know.
It must be, we're going to sound so dumb, but it must be because of the fireworks, because fireworks scare animals.
Yes, I think that has something to do with it. I think they also needed a lot of land surrounding for the animals.
And for Kilimanjaro Safari. They need a lot of land just for that.
For real. But
because it's the biggest park.
Yes. So, but you have to schedule that into your day. So, like, when I was planning the trip for my family that is coming in November, I had to think, okay, getting out to Animal Kingdom, that's going to take I mean, it's a 20-minute drive.
Imagine how long the Skyliner ride to Animal Kingdom
it would be so
though.
long. They can't do that. I don't think.
Yeah, I could see them doing Epcot to Magic Kingdom because
I can too.
They're far, but they're not impossibly far.
They can do the monorail.
If they can do the monorail, they can do the.
There's probably a hotel in between that it could stop at as well.
Right, but like the Animal Kingdom, I don't know what they're gonna do for that.
I don't think they're gonna do anything
for you, Animal Kingdom people.
I think they're gonna keep it a bus only situation.
Oh, but don't you wish you could just get on the Sky Park at Animal Kingdom, eat at Boma, get on the Skyliner to go to Magic Kingdom or wherever you want to go?
Yeah,
that would be nice.
Yes, I know. We really like Boma at Animal Kingdom Lodge for breakfast.
Like Animal Kingdom Lodge. Now that I've been, I had not been, but now that I've been, it's just so, like
it's so pretty.
I would just love to visit.
Yeah,
just to pop in, say hello to the flamingos, get my Boma breakfast.
Yeah, and then head over somewhere else.
Yeah, beautiful, but it's so far away that it knocks it down a peg, you know.
Right, and then when you have to factor in waiting for the bus too, that's another possibly 20 minutes. So plus the 20-minute drive. So to be safe, I'm factoring like an hour.
Yeah. But hey, that's kind of like, hopefully, from listening to this conversation, maybe you guys have a little bit better of a sense of some of the do's and don'ts for each of the methods of transportation.
Yeah.
If there's anything you can take away from this, I hope it's that if you're, planning out your vacation, deciding which to use, now you know some of the pros and cons for each, because each of them does have their moment where they're the most convenient thing. It's just knowing when to utilize what that will kind of be your ticket to smooth navigating around Walt Disney World.
Right.
Yeah. But thank you guys so much for listening. Oh,
you okay?
Boy, I've been overcome. Let us know. Go ahead and leave us a review of this podcast if you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you. Subscribe for our latest episodes. And you can also watch the video version of this podcast along with all of our restaurant vlogs and reviews and experience reviews. And those can all be found on our YouTube at Neverland Navigation Co. And you can also find us online.
Neverlandnavigation.co.
That's like our home base. Morgan writes a blog there. It's really great. She gives you like written account experiences for all of the videos and topics that we discuss on our vlog. We also are on Instagram and TikTok at Neverland Navco. And we would love
to... on Etsy.
Yeah, and we're on Etsy where Morgan makes awesome t-shirts. Like if you're watching this video, the one I'm wearing now, I'm wearing a Disco Yeti design after Expedition Everest, and I love it. That Etsy is Neverland Navigation.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
And we will we'll hear you. You'll hear us. Really, we're not going to hear you ever, unfortunately. But you'll hear us next time here on Neverland Navigation Radio.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye.